Um, I started music generally in kids choir, after school programs, just because my parents couldn't really afford childcare. Um, and then eventually I saw a friend of mine like in early elementary school with a violin, and I was like, what is that? And she's like, I take lessons after school, you know. We didn't have an orchestra program at the school I was in. And so I was obsessed. I got my mom to buy me a ticket to see a violin concerto at the symphony near where I grew up, and I saw that performance, and that was it. I was like, this is what I want to do. I want to play the violin. I want to be a soloist. And my school only had rental violas available, so I ended up playing the viola, and I loved it. I loved practicing. I didn't really have lessons even to start. So I was just going off of pure excitement and joy and cat sounds. I got into orchestral conducting around 12 and 13. I was starting to realize that, you know, I knew that I wanted to be a serious musician. I took myself very seriously. But I was beginning to realize that I didn't think I had the resources to win a job on viola. I knew how competitive it was, and I just felt like I didn't have the resources to like make my chops what they should be by the time I wanted to be in an orchestra, right? So I was like, I need to pivot. I was like, I need to be in orchestra somehow, but I got to figure out how to do this because my musicianship and my musicality far surpassed my technical ability at 12 and 13, you know? Things caught up later.
Right.
And I could have, at the end there, I was like, dang, wait a minute. I could have done this. Why did I doubt myself? But at the beginning, I was like, I want to be in orchestra, but I don't think I'll win a job. So what can I do? And conducting was just like the next answer. Like pure musicianship and musicality with no physical inhibitor except the way you communicate. I really was enticed by that idea. I mean, I knew nothing. You know how some kids just know all the things and all the workshops and which teacher is here. I didn't know any of that. So it was really just me and my hopes and dreams. We didn't have a lot of money, so I was always at the public library because that's where my resources were. I didn't have a computer at home or TV that I would use as another resource that I could use. So I would go to the library and get a bunch of CDs, like recordings of the standard works. I started at this point, I was in the Phoenix Youth Symphony, and so we could go to Phoenix Symphony concerts for free. And so I would look up the entire season, like the spring before, as soon as it was announced, and I'd go to the library and get all the CDs, and I'd go to the music library close to me, and I'd get the mini study scores, and I would go to these concerts, and I had this like very I can't be a fake fan mentality where like I already loved the bands and the musicians that I liked, and if anyone was wearing a shirt, it was like name 3 songs. Like I was that kid. And so I was like, I can't go see Tchaikovsky 4 if I don't know what the second horn is playing. Right. I'm a fake fan, and so I really did. I put this huge amount of pressure on myself at a very young age to know the music, and I couldn't stand not going to the concert and being surprised. I'd be disappointed in myself, like how did I miss that, you know? So I really hit the books from a very early age. My experience is just throw everything at the wall and see what sticks. I believe I've applied to this festival. No, I've applied to this festival once before, and I've been waitlisted. You know, I've applied to the other things twice over and been told no, and then on the third time, been invited. So it's really just the luck of the draw. You know what I mean? And who applies that year, and how good your tape is. Because in COVID, none of my masked auditions got me anywhere, because so much of the way I communicate is through my facial expression, and you can really see how I connect with the orchestra. And I could tell as soon as that was taken away, not only did my ensemble suffer, but I didn't get any auditions that year, and I knew why, you know. So it really is just audition, send a tape everywhere. Eventually, at some point, you're gonna get a yes, and be prepared for a lot of no's, and that's okay. No's are not a value judgment. It's just what the pool was that year. You can't take it personally. Well, ICWF is really great because it's such an intimate setting. You get very vulnerable quickly with these people. I mean, any music festival is, but I mean, in ICWF, you work with Larry Ratcliffe and Don Schleicher. They're both down at Rice University now. And they're just these great pedagogues who really can identify your weaknesses, but also speak to your strengths. And ICWF is just this really great balance of, here's what you do well. We're not trying to gaslight you, but here's what you have to work on. Whereas other environments, I often are like, you're awful, and you have only improvement to make.
Right.
You know, so I think I liked ICWF for its on balance, great pedagogical work. Prague Summer Nights was interesting because this was the second time I had been to the Czech Republic. I had gone the year prior to a chamber music festival as a violist. It was so unfortunate my resume can't really reflect what I've done as a violist because I'm trying to be a conductor. But this is my second year, and so my Czech was just way better because the year before I was in a Czech festival. My rehearsals were in Czech. Like,
Oh my God.
my dorm mates were Czech. Like, I had to learn quickly. So second year was really great. I learned, it was an opera festival. So I learned from a vocal coach who works at Juilliard how to conduct recitative. That was probably the most valuable thing I learned. I went into that lesson and I was like, how do you do this? And he's like, do you know the Italian? I'm like, no. I didn't know this was a requirement. He's like, well, who's going to tell you? And I'm like, you, I guess. So that whole first week, this must have been day 2, that whole first week, I'm like revisiting this opera. I'm like 3 months of score study and I didn't hit the Italian. What the?
Right.
I couldn't. So I was just absolutely marking the IPA, the translations, putting everything to memory, just drilling it, like no sleep. And like had it all down by week 2. Like I gave myself no room. And I had it down. Well, the conducting scholars are preparing an overture for their Overtures concert with the Festival Orchestra. I'm doing William Tell, Rossini's Overture to William Tell, which I find very exciting because it's like 4 songs in one. I often say it's like the sicko mode of its time. You know?
I love that, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, dang, this is like the sicko mode of its time. Because it's like 4 in 1, and I'm really glad I was assigned it because there's so much variety. I get to express so much. And there's just a lot you can do with it. Whenever I prepare a score, I really love to take my time. And obviously, I'm very frustrated because I'm finding that as a conductor, you don't get a lot of time to prepare. So it's very different. I've learned how to like take my process and truncate it a lot. You get really good at harmonic analysis on the fly, really good at phrase structures, overall like sonata form, like where does it go? If score prep has taught me anything, it's how to take the skills I learned at school and score study and just music study generally and how to do it like right now. But if I had the time in the world, like I would write the book on the piece. You know what I mean? Measure 1, violins enter, pianissimo. Measure 2, oboes come in on top, forte. Like I would, you know, B flat, like A major we're starting, you know, whatever. I would really love to take my time like that, like I used to.
Right.
But now my process is just staring at the page and just doing it all right then and there. Like I don't have the time to like go to another notebook and like write out all the themes. I'm like, here's the theme, let's play it on the piano. Okay, I got it.
Right.
And here are the chords. Try it again, you know.
Right.
I've gotten really good at doing this really quickly. It served me. I hope it continues to serve me,
Right.
especially as, you know, assistant conductors and cover conductors were called, you know, on the last minute, like, come do this. So glad I'm learning it now.
Right.
Learning those skills now is very helpful. My next season is full. Honestly, I've been asked to do other things and I've had to say no, which is always nice. My next season, I finished my degree in December. I'm working with the Toledo Youth Orchestras as well as a cover conductor, just whoever gets sick, whenever I fill in. And in COVID, that's been obviously very lucrative and people have been wanting to take vacations. I'm going to start working with the Detroit Youth Symphony ensembles starting in the fall. I know the conductor there who just won a position as assistant conductor with the DSO, and he's asked me to come in and work with the youth orchestra under him. And we're going to be doing, I think the first piece we're doing of the season is The New World, which I love, and I love bringing to kids because kids absolutely love it. I loved it. I still love it. I'm still a fan, you know? It's still a hit. So yeah, I graduate in the fall, and then in the spring I'm also going to be hired on as a adjunct faculty member in conducting at my same university. I eventually want to start my own ensemble. I think I'm doing the traditional conductor thing, the traditional path, because I do want, you know, some experience and a little bit maybe of some clout to show that I know what I'm doing. But eventually I want to start my own orchestra that is not just an orchestra, but also an arts organization. It's very interdisciplinary. I feel like the orchestra has so much potential to be much more than just this beautiful thing. Like, it can do real work, honestly, like good political work in communities today because music is so transformative. And so I want an institution that really, like, the limit is my own imagination, but like works with therapy practitioners and can do meditative workshops, or political activists come in. We work with sculptors, painters, costume designers, choreographers. I haven't seen my ideas really reflected in any institution, which excites me about where orchestra can go from here. You know, my interest is keeping music alive. And I think the only way we can do that is by embracing change. You know, if we don't embrace change, then we risk, you know, irrelevancy. And I certainly don't want our art to die. That's the last thing I want. I want it to live on and to hopefully spread into something much greater than what it is maybe today. I worry that I worry that the orchestral repertoire today and orchestras generally are sort of like a museum. You go to a museum and you see this really pretty thing that's dusty on the shelf. And I think we could be so much more than just this pretty thing. I think we could actually do something and make a difference. And I've always wanted to do that. I've always sought to take the side of me that really cares about people and the communities around me, and the people that are suffering and struggling. It's a tough world, you know, and my love for music and how much music has saved me personally and healed me through whatever I was going through. I really think this intersection has yet to be explored, and I mean, I'm certainly excited to see what the future holds.